Hello, everyone in Northwest Kansas. Here I am with your crop update. Early planted corn and irrigation is looking pretty good. We are seeing some stress in these fields due to this extreme heat. But all in all, we're at that V14 to 16, some 18 even. We will be tasseling later this week to the first of next week. So we are accumulating growth GDUs pretty fast, and that can be a good thing and a bad. Seeing some insects, seeing some western bean cutworm. This is some western bean cutworm larvae that just hatched. Seeing quite a few egg masses out in the field, so keep your eye on this and plan accordingly whenever we're spraying. Adult rutworms are prevalent in fields as well. And you see this cornfield, this was irrigated and it was rolling a little bit. And understand that each 12 hours that corn is rolled, you're going to lose about 1%. And this has been researched. So you're going to lose about 1% of yield, or potential yield. So as we look at this and we see some of these. And you see some of this dry land right now, you realize what kind of impact this is really having, this lack of moisture. But as we look into this a little bit, this is actually a picture of what was fertilized and what wasn't fertilized, and it's kind of an interesting picture to show you that fertility really did make a difference. I guess these higher temperatures, I want to make you to realize that these higher, especially higher nighttime temperatures, means we're going to respirate more, and this can reduce yield by just metabolizing sugars that would have been moved to the ear, so to kernels. So understand that these hot temperatures are while we can't control that, there are consequences, and we need to adjust our yield expectations as a result. Overall, the corn looks pretty good. It is surviving fairly well through this as long as we keep the water to it. Again, this is a tassel that's just, we're about a week away here. But a lot of corn is in that time frame, and this is actually a male adult corn rootworm. This is actually female. She's not quite gravid yet. More western bean cutworm eggs. So realize we've got these insects out here, and there are a lot of them in a lot of fields. Also, spider mites are prevalent in most all fields. I'm seeing them in just about every field. Now, levels and where they are in the plant vary, but they're in every field. So as we're making these adult rootworm spray jobs with Stewart or Indoxacarb, understand that these spider mites, we don't have a lot of beneficials in the field, so we're going to have to manage, and we're going to have to plan. We're probably going to have to utilize some miticides this year whenever we're spraying, just because of the amount of mites out there, and the weather is going to be conducive. And just understand that we're at 100 degrees now. We're going to be in the 90s next week, it sounds like. Well, the mites actually like that weather better than they like these extreme temperatures. Now, as we move to pinto beans, the dry beans, if you will, dry beans are looking really good. Finally starting to grow. Finally getting a handle on these thrips, which has been holding us back some. Beans look really, really good as a rule. Now, I did have some pretty chlorotic beans, and that's kind of what I'm showing you here. And this is actually less, but you can see the streak here in these green. These are actually peas. Another field of peas, but this next slide here shows you a check strip we have where we sprayed some hype and iron, and we really did a nice job of greening those beans up. So it was nice to see that check strip, and here's another photo of it, and you can see how green it is around that. So nice to see that kind of response. So we're able to push through, and this is real high. This is 8.2 pHs in places in this area. So, but the beans are growing pretty good, and they're just starting to bud. We're going to see some flowers probably next week. That's good. I'm glad that we're not flowering this week because of this extreme heat. So we still have some potential. Realize whenever we're spraying over top of crop, make sure we're rinsing, and that's kind of what I'm showing here. And it wasn't that they didn't rinse, it was just that we still had some stuff hanging up in the boom from sitting overnight. So not, and actually grew out of it fairly well. But beans are on the fast track, and we should start seeing quite a few blooms the next week or so. Just keep an eye on the thrips. Milo looking really good. But it's using a lot of water right now. This is the time where Milo likes water. Um, and if they're irrigated, this is the time. If we didn't water before, this is the time we need to be watering, because we're going to be booting next week, and a lot of this early planted Milo. We're going to be heading the following week probably, and a lot of this Milo. I'm going to see a lot of heads before the 1st of August this year, which is fairly typical. The main thing that I want to emphasize here is this is the time where we can't stress Milo, like this picture here, and we do have a little bit of that. And if you have stressed Milo, just like corn, if we roll that Milo, we're going to have impact on yield. And I'm not trying to be elementary here, but that's just the way it is. So we got to do the best we can. We got to control what we can control. Dryland crops, really, we have pretty much no control over what's going on, and really there's just not much hope in this because of the weather. So hopefully this cycle will break. Maybe we'll get some rain. Maybe we'll be able to get some wheat up this fall. And I mean, that's kind of how I'm planning, and just trying to emphasize the importance of this irrigation. So some of these wells are a little short, and if this weather doesn't break, we're going to have to make some tough decisions on, whether that's watering half a circle or what that is. I'm not sure yet. But those are some of the decisions that are going to have to be made just because of these extreme conditions. But all in all, considering how extreme things are, the crops look pretty good. That includes soybeans, sunflowers, alfalfa, but it's all water dependent. If we've got water, they're handling this thing fair. If we don't have water, they're going backwards fast. So just be careful with what we're doing whenever we're managing these insects in corn, and don't just make rote recommendations. Don't just do what we've always done because that's what we've always done. Make sure that we're putting some thought into this, and realizing that maybe we need to include miticides as opposed to just spraying this insect and trying to rely upon beneficials to take care of the mites. It's not going to happen this year because there's not that much. The beneficial numbers are really low this year. So with that, I thank you for your time, and I hope this is some value. Thank you. Bye.